Hello and welcome to a post-election future-proof, where we'll be talking about the highs, the lows and everything in between of the Scottish election on the 7th of May. But first, what actually happened? The SNP emerged as the largest party on 58 seats out of the 129. However, they didn't achieve the outright majority of 65. And meanwhile, the Greens achieved their role as the fourth largest party at 15 seats, and Reform managed to split the Tory vote on 17.
Looking a bit wider, it was a rough day for Labour. In Scotland, they dropped from 22 MSPs from 2021 down to 17 MSPs, making them second in opposition with Reform UK. South of the border, former Labour heartland Wales, which they held for 27 years, was lost to a split between Plaid Cymru and Reform UK. And finally, in England, Labour lost 1,496 councillors and 38 councils, including their long-held strongholds of the North and London. This result has led to over 30 MPs calling for PM Sir Keir Starmer to resign. All in all, they lost more seats than the fire at an IKEA warehouse.
And in case any of you at home are getting a little bit too confident, the Electoral Commission itself has been accused of spreading misinformation. An advert that they put onto social media told voters to bring ID, which you don't actually need to do. The same happened when a Scottish council sent envelopes to people's homes, also saying you need to bring ID. So everyone can make mistakes and spread misinformation.
They certainly can, but well, just another day's work, eh? So the election has obviously been and gone, but how did people vote? And why? We're here outside the National Museum of Scotland here in lovely Edinburgh to find out a little bit more about what motivated people to vote, and if not, why. Did you vote in this election?
Yes, did.
And what persuaded you to vote? Why was your vote important to you in this election?
I just feel that the SNP are making a terrible job of running this country and anything to get them out.
Did you get a chance to vote in the election just gone?
No, I didn't.
And why was that? What stopped you?
I didn't receive a voter's card.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a shame. And if you did vote, what would be the issues that you would matter to you in an election?
Well, what would matter to me is the care for the most vulnerable in the society.
Yeah, no, of course.
The poor, the homeless, immigrants. Because a lot of immigrants are coming here from places that are not safe and they come for refuge. So how you treat the weakest, your words towards the weakest, your attitudes towards the weakest and most vulnerable, that would be who I would vote for.
So, did you vote in this election?
I did.
And what was the sort of issues that prompted you to vote this time round?
I'm still very for the independence movement, so it needed to be a party that was for that. And also, I live over on the west coast of Scotland. I live in the Isle of Bute, over in Rossy. So I wanted to have somebody who had an eye on the things that matter to us. Cancelled ferries, the cost of living being so much higher over there than it is on the mainland, travel links, things like that.
What are your sort of three top concerns in politics today?
Immigration, definitely number one, immigration. Things like the NHS and just the general way the country seems to be getting run down, the economy and, no growth.
What would you say are the sort of core issues you want to see coming out of a new Scottish Parliament?
I would like to see the environment being put front and centre. I think if we don't preserve the things that we already have, we're all sunk regardless of how you vote. That being said, I also think that jobs and the cost of living are really important just now.
What would you expect from the new Parliament, the election? What do you think their priorities should be? Should it be beyond refuge, or is that the sole issue for you?
For me, there are lots of people going through a lot in this period of time we're in. A lot of people don't have food to eat. A lot of people are homeless. A lot of people are vulnerable. So I would like to see them concentrate on the most vulnerable. Children, are they protecting the children? Are they making sure the children are safe and well educated? So this is what I would like to see them do, and concentrate on the things that matter. Are we safe? Are they telling the truth? So transparency as well.
So is trust a big issue for you?
Very much so, because people just believe the politicians are lying. They're not telling the truth. They're not really concerned.
Hi, I'm Anselm Davis. I'm from Fort William and I'm part of the Youth Voice Network.
My name's Georgie. I'm 14 and I've been part of the Youth Electoral Commission since August last year, I think.
I'm Finlay. I come from Ayr, down the west coast. There's not much to say.
What politicians need to do fundamentally is listen and understand to what young people need. Another thing politicians could do is really understand that young people are a different kind of generation to the generations that have come before them.
Because say if you take like the adults now, they didn't really grow up with things like social media and more things like that. And I feel like, you know, especially with like younger people now, there's kind of really a stint in their abilities socially. So I feel like, yeah, like the way we communicate and we learn is very different from generations, say, before us.
If you look at how many videos get put in, say, like TikTok every day, there's going to be about millions. And to regulate all of those would be mental. That would take a lot of resources. But what could be done would, you have to nip it in the bud, and you need to stop people that see them from actually interacting and following down with these videos' messages. So it should be the job. My view is it should be done in schools.
There's not been much political education, learning about specific parties and where you can go. I feel like it's just very brushed over and kind of more of a thing on a checklist than I'm really passionate about getting young people into this thing.
It should be taught in schools around election time what each party is. Just because, like, you hear a lot of folk that plan on voting, they're going to be voting on extreme ends of things. But realistically, you know them, and they're not extremists.
And looking at, you know, youth voting statistics, people aren't voting as much as they used to. And it's understandable. I look at the way that how a lot of parties function now, and I can understand that. So for me, it's like, I think it's important that we raise awareness to get more people to vote, because when young people vote, it allows young people to be represented. And when young people are represented, that allows them to feel like they're being heard. And if they're being heard, they're more likely to vote. And it's a cycle that builds on itself.
It's one of the most important things to be doing right now, you know, learning, getting your voice out there, making sure that you are heard and that your opinions are heard. Like, we are going to be the future, us young people. And if we create a future that we don't agree with, we aren't going to be happy and we aren't going to, you know, be able to sustain it and be able to flourish.
So you managed to capture a wide range of voices there. So what would you say was the overarching issue which was shared amongst all of them?
Yeah, I mean, it really seems like they all had the same desire to be educated. They were all talking about how they only wanted to know more about politics. They only wanted to be taught more about how to recognize misinformation, and they wanted their peers to do the same. It was really interesting because there's often this perception that young people don't care, but it was very clear they did.
So, a wide range of voices there from across the country. What would you say the overarching theme was amongst all the people you spoke to?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed that all three of them really wanted themselves and their peers to be just educated more. They just wanted to know more about how politics works. They wanted to just know more about how to spot misinformation. And that was really encouraging to see, because there's often this perception that young people don't care. So I was very glad to see that they were so passionate and so eager to learn more.
It's definitely something that we can look upon positively, and a sign that the message that we try to harp on about is getting through after all.
Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that in mind, us here at Futureproof created a youth communications manifesto, which you're going to see a video about now.
As AI grows more advanced and politics more divided, being able to engage younger generations in the political process is becoming more difficult than ever. Recent statistics from the National Records of Scotland suggest that 16 to 17-year-olds make up just 1.7% of Scotland's registered voter population. a worrying trend when turnout across the board continues to decrease, with only 52% of registered voters putting a cross on their ballot back on the 7th of May. At Future Proof, we understand the urgent need to counteract this narrative. This is why we are proud to announce our Youth Communications Manifesto, a set of radical, youth-centric proposals designed to engage younger voters and nurture a healthier relationship between them and their representatives in Parliament. We have considered a diverse range of proposals, including a new approach to online safeguarding, media literacy, political education, and giving young people more of a say. We believe our approach will help to ensure that all young people will have a greater sense of trust in their representatives and will be better protected from misinformation in politics. But most of all, we want to ensure that the work of the Scottish Parliament continues to be accessible, transparent, and overall future-proof.
If you'd like to see the full manifesto, the link will be in the description below.
If you've been an eagle-eyed viewer for the last few weeks, you may remember this.
Each week, the Future Proof team keeps an eye on the headlines in Scottish news so that we can report them to you on the weekly show. So this week, I was keeping an eye on news in Glasgow. Have either of you heard of the Independent Green Voice?
Funnily enough, I have, yes.
Well, if you haven't heard of them at home, they are a far-right party began by a former UKIP member and Holocaust denier that are contesting the election under the name Independent Green Voice. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's because it is. It sounds a lot like the Scottish Greens. And the Scottish Greens have complained to the Electoral Commission over their choice of name. They're accusing them of poaching votes off them, essentially. However, the Electoral Commission has not upheld the complaint. So if you are in Glasgow, really basic piece of information. Know who you're voting for. Know the exact name of your party.
So with that in mind, we here thought we'd have a little fun and make alternative names for Scottish parties.
We did indeed, and first out of the traps is a farmer-friendly party called Refarm Britain, designed to steal votes from Reform UK and give the sheep that extra voice they need.
Mine for Reform UK is inspired by one of their councillors about melting down certain kinds of people, but anyway, Reformaldehyde DK.
Jesus.
And I was thinking that maybe the Scottish Labour Party's had it too easy and might need a good rival called the Scottish Labrador Party.
Well,
Give some of our dogs a representation.
Well, rough.
Speaking of things that aren't easy, I was thinking of the In Labour Party.
No.
Oh, well, it's a boy.
Yeah, no, make sure things get pushed through.
No.
You said what? So this quote is apparently from Donald Trump. So, it starts like this. The Democrats spent $8 million to promote LGBTQI+, in the nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. And another $8 million for making mice transgender. This is real, he says.
That's something he would say.
Yes, it's hard with him because he says everything that's ludicrous, so it's real.
You going with real?
A small price to pay for trans mouse, I think.
And you are correct. It was a quote made by Donald Trump in January 2025, and experts suspect what he was actually referring to was transgenic mice. Next, on to the next one. So this is apparently from John Swinney in 2024 when he was first elected First Minister. Well, appointed First Minister even. So, presiding officer, I'd like to thank Nicola Sturgeon for guaranteeing my re-election. We will make sure that every school in Scotland receives bananas and Nutella every day.
Not convinced, but...
That sounds fake.
Sounds fake? We're going with fake.
Purely because I don't think he'd be product placement with Nutella. He'd put like hazelnut spread.
Well, if you say so, and you know what? They're right. John Swinney didn't say this. This came from a deepfake which went on Facebook in 2024 after his first speech to Parliament. So, moving on to the next one. So this is Nigel Farage allegedly talking about the BBC and Laura Kuenssberg. You don't get to preach about justice while your show profits from corporate hypocrisy. I've been telling stories about real life, pain and humanity for years. You just package it for ratings.
If that's real, it's very
Yeah.
ironic. But yeah, I think it's real.
You think it's real?
Kind of his sort of wording, I think.
And they are wrong. Both of them.
Oh.
The first one of the day. This was actually from a deep fake which Full Fact verified at the beginning of this year of an argument that was allegedly taking place between Laura Kuenssberg and Nigel Farage. And they even swapped it with Boris Johnson about 2 days later. So, this is allegedly from Keir Starmer, this next one, from a speech about more surveillance on the state and sort of CCTV and stuff like that. Let me be clear. Some people describe this as a panopticon, a state that sees, that anticipates, and that monitors patterns of behaviour. I understand the public's concern. Power must always be questioned. Authority must be justified. But let's be honest with the public. A state that cannot see, a state that waits to react, has already failed.
I could tell you fought the urge to do an impression of him there, but...
I really did, but I can't do that on TV.
Yeah, I'm going to go with fake. I think it sounds a bit too... Like, for its rivals, it would be too good to be true,
yeah,
to be
I
honest.
hope it's not, but I think it is real.
You think it's real?
Yeah.
Is that your final answer? This is like Who Wants to Be a
Now
Millionaire.
you
This
make me
is
doubt
brilliant.
myself. Can I phone a friend then?
If you had any friends. But unfortunately, we've been doing this for so long, we don't. Anyway, you are incorrect.
Who? What,
You.
me?
This was actually a prompt I typed into Copilot. So, whilst it couldn't render Keir Starmer himself, they basically took his qualities and put it into a speech. And whilst they say they can't replicate Keir Starmer, it sounds like him, especially in the bit saying, let's be honest with the public and let me be clear. He says that a lot. Right, so
Well,
this...
thank you, Santi, for spreading misinformation.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a public service, everyone. So, this re-emerged after John Prescott, the former Deputy Prime Minister's death in 2024 on the internet. So, this allegedly came from his description of the brawl he got into in Real, where he ended up punching a man in the face. So, I saw this bloke built like a barn door and I reacted. When Tony asked me what happened, I said I was carrying out his orders. He told me to connect with the electorate, so I did.
Who's Tony?
Tony
John
Blair.
Prescott,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I was thinking like maybe Tony Soprano, like he worked for the mob or something. Like, I'm gonna go with fake as well for that
I mean,
one.
after the last humiliation, I'm pretty over this quiz to be honest, but I'm going to go with it being real.
You real, you
Fake.
fake. Wrong, right. John Prescott actually made this statement on an episode of Top Gear.
So today we've been reflecting on the election we've been building up to for the past few shows. So today we're going to try and reflect on how we feel we've done in our project. So what would you guys say has been your favourite thing that you've done with this project so far?
Oh, bloody hell, so much. I can't say that, can I?
Bloody's in the Bible. For me personally, I think speaking to Professor Alan Jagenlinzer, I'm sorry if that's not a pronunciation, if you're watching, about the tools of manipulation being similar across all the contexts and how technologies are evolving that, which was then put in a Scotsman article which I wrote.
Yeah, a very good Scotsman article, as I say. It actually brought me to tears. It was so moving. For me, it had to be Alex Cole Hamilton. He was so charismatic, he seems so dedicated to his job, and his reflexes are amazing.
Yeah.
Because I almost dropped the camera on him.
They have to watch their back around you.
Yeah, no, potential assassin over there.
No. These guys have learnt over the last, 4 or 5 weeks or so, that they cannot trust me. But other than that, the youth hustings was a real eye-opener for me, especially we went to the pub afterwards together with some of the candidates, and just seeing the chemistry between all of them, regardless of the sort of their political orientations and leanings, was actually incredibly moving and something that will stay with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about yourself?
Well, I would have to say that I've always really loved interviewing people, so I've really loved the chance to interview more people, such as John Loudon and people on the webinars, which we've done at the weekend. And moving on, we all first got acquainted with SIF as part of the Festival of Politics project, and that will be happening again this year. So, we prepared a little trailer for you to watch to anticipate this one's.
SIF Bootcamp Day 1.
This week has been the craziest week. On the first day, I got the first big interview with Nicola Sturgeon's former advisor. So that was just being thrown in at the deep end and kind of learning that I could do it. And I think understanding the whole process is something that I've learned throughout this.
I've learned a lot about the Parliament, actually. I've never been here before, which is great. And I've learned a lot about interviews, I think, and how to conduct them sort of properly. I think with each one that I've done, I felt a lot more confident and a lot more at ease. Perfect.
Okay, good to go.
Good to go. So today, Israel has initiated its plan to take over Gaza City and has called up another 60,000 reservists. And I've learned sort of how, really what it takes to put together a live show. It's so different from filming like a pre-recorded package. And I guess I've learned that I am a lot more capable than maybe I thought I was.
The work that I've done through SIF, I never would have been able to do with just university alone. I 100% would not have been able to interview Clive Myrie. I wouldn't have been in the same room as Liz Lloyd. Do you know what I mean? They're giving us access to this.
As much as education's great, this industry is about who you know and the connections you make. I don't think I'd otherwise get my foot in the door like I have with this one, and I'm excited to see where this leads because of the people I've met there. Even all the members of the team I've interacted with, there's good connections there. Young people breaking in, it's next to impossible. So we need opportunities like this.
So if you're interested in joining the Scottish Youth Film Foundation family, feel free to join us for the Festival of Politics in August. Details are available on our website. But in the meantime, that is all from us. Thank you very much to every one of you for joining our live streams over the last few weeks. We hope you take care, and we'll see you again for the next project. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.